Hello and welcome back to the Watford Way, and I'm joined by Finn today, and we're going to be discussing the signing of a new player, and that new player is, of course, Finn, Carlos Sanchez. He's been a free agent since the start of this season, and Watford have kind of snapped him up, when we needed a player in that position. So Finn, when you saw the announcement this morning from Watford, what was your initial reaction to the signing?
I'm quite pleased with it now. But if when I saw the room when I posted about it, I was like, oh, for God's sake, because it's another 35-year-old. Don't really. Well, no, we do need him. That's a lie. Um, we don't need any more experience. But now that Tom Cleverley might have a lengthy injury, I think it's a good sign. It's a sensible signing. But the one thing we don't want is him extending his contract past the end of this season and being a burden.
Well, that's it. It is a contract until the end of the season, as far as we're aware. As you say, I mean, I don't know if there is a clause in there to extend it any further. Um, but he has signed now. As we said, he has signed until the end of the season. I just want to kind of talk you through his career quickly before we get on to some more questions. So he started at River Plate. Then he spent some time away from River Plate, and then most notably he was at Aston Villa. Then he went on loan to Fiorentina. Then from Fiorentina, he went on loan to Espanyol, then to West Ham, and then he was obviously released from West Ham until he's ended up at Watford now. And Finn, what's most worrying for me about this signing is that this is someone who used to be quite a talented player. He was quite well renowned at club level and internationally. He's got 88 caps for Colombia. But what's most worrying is Finn is that he's not had a club since the start of this season, and what we want someone who is match sharp, match fit, and ready to go. And I know the club website said he is available for selection this weekend, obviously depending on how Tom Cleverley's injury is. But is this signing, as I just said, he's not played a game for a very, very long time. Is this the right signing for Watford?
I don't know, not a chance. We've got. I know Deli Bashir probably won't play again this season. We've got him coming back. We've got Dan Phillips, who could have easily filled in that role. We've got Gosling, he's got a knock. He's not out for the season or anything. You've got Hughesy, he's obviously still there. I know I'm not saying our midfield is stacked because it's not, but I just think there's so many better options than Carlos Sanchez. Someone younger, someone hungrier. I know not Davinson Sanchez. Sorry, Carlos Sanchez. He's an aggressive player, but he's not what we need. We need someone young. We need someone hungry. You know what I mean? So like, it's a sensible signing, but it's not my first choice. If you know what I mean.
I think it is a sensible signing, and let me know what everyone's thoughts are in the comments as well. Because it is a sensible signing in the sense that we've got suspensions to players. We've seen Chalobah's got suspended. That's one man less in the midfield. Tom Cleverley potentially out with a really serious injury. We're not quite sure what's happening with that yet. It did look quite nasty actually, Finn, didn't it, when he went off the pitch?
Everyone knows how much I love Tom Cleverley, and when I saw him go down writhing in pain, it was not a good sight. I think it'll be a massive shame and a massive loss for Watford if he is out for quite a long time. And I think they said on the commentary at the time he's gone down clutching the side of his knee, which either means ACL or I can't remember what Tommy Mooney said, but it wasn't a nice injury either way. And I think he did post last night on Instagram saying about how it feels okay sat down, which gives me the tiniest bit of hope that it's not too bad. So, yeah, I think it's a sensible signing again, but he's injury prone himself as well, isn't he? He's done his ACL at West Ham, so
he is injury prone, and another concern about this for me is I know Watford don't release a lot of details about transfers, but what are his wages going to be? This is a player who could demand quite high wages for what is actually going to be for us, and he is there to add depth to a position we need depth in, but in terms of planning for the long term, Finn, I personally think that we've properly messed up this season. You have to think about the players we've brought in, especially in recent times in January and these free transfers. Dan Gosling, great player, good player for us, 31 years old. Ashraf Lazar, 29 years old. Carlos Sanchez, 35 years old. We're not planning for the future, are we, Finn?
No, and I just think it's so. We've got a brilliant academy, haven't we? We've got the likes of Hungbo, Dan Phillips, that Tom Delibashiru, and it just astounds me that players like them haven't got more opportunities this season, especially at the start of the season. I can't remember who it was. It was someone quite high up at the club, and they promised us youthful players, and that's just again they've just simply lied.
Yeah, I think that was Scott Duxbury, Finn.
Yeah, Scott Duxbury. Then he promised us young players brought through, and I think the only young player that we've seen brought through the season is probably João Pedro and what's his name, Siralta, and neither of them two were produced by the academy. I just think Hungbo, Delibashiru, Dan Phillips, they need to be brought through, and signing players like Rob Elliott, Carlos Sánchez.
Rob Elliott's another one actually that you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all old and they're going to help them develop, but they're not. It's almost halting their development because they're not going to get in the team because of these new old signings that are just. There's just so many better options.
Yeah, I just want to look at a couple of comments here, Finn, because there are some mixed opinions about the signing. Look, we did need to, my personal opinion is that position, we did need someone in there. I just wish it wasn't Carlos Sanchez, but
Yeah.
there we go. He has signed, so there's not a lot we can do about it now. First of all, James here says, my dad, who is a Villa fan, obviously he used to play for Villa, he said he's dreadful. So thanks for that, James. Really positive news there. We've signed a dreadful player. Thank you for that. Fireball saying, so happy to see Hungbo last night. Played really well. We will touch on him actually before this stream finishes, because I do think Joseph Hungbo, definitely one of the most talented players to come through our academy ranks in recent memory. 5 Cult Gaming, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well, mate. He says, a lot of my West Ham friends don't speak highly of him. He has to prove himself, so it might be a shrewd signing. It's a contract until the end of the season. It's a backup, and I do think he is a suitable player to be a backup, Finn. But I just think that if it's going to be utilised week in, week out at Watford, I mean, I don't like to judge players before they've played for us. And look, I wish Carlos Sanchez all the best why he is at Watford, because he might actually turn out to be quite a good player. But surely, Finn, it is just a backup for us, and hopefully Chalobah gets back, Dan Gosling gets back, and Carlos Sanchez can be that safety net on the bench that we can bring on if we need to.
Yeah, I think it was always going to be a backup. As soon as I saw the room, I was like, if we sign him, he's the worst midfielder we're going to have realistically. And I think we've seen Ben Wilmot come on in central defensive midfield quite a few times recently, and to shut off the game. And I think instead of bringing Ben Wilmot on, we can bring an actual defensive midfielder on in Davinson's. Why do I keep saying Davinson?
Carlos. What? I would love Davinson Sanchez at Watford.
Oh, well, I would love him. Yeah. Yeah. What was I? Yeah, he's a good backup, but probably again not the best option. Dan Phillips, I'd probably bring him on before I'd resort to Carlos Sánchez.
What's actually happened to Dan Phillips? Because he's not been in any match day squads, has he?
Not. I don't know about the under-23s, but he's definitely not been in them since Man United, I think.
Yeah, if anyone knows what's happening with Dan Phillips, let us know in the comments, because we are light in that area, and I would like to see him get an opportunity. Rudy here saying, welcome to the stream. Of course, Rudy, thanks for joining us. He said we definitely need to use our academy more. Absolutely agree. I'm sure Finn agrees with that as well. Ollie's saying our fault for not making the appropriate signings during the window. And yeah, I think that kind of correlates into what we talked about a little bit earlier, Finn, the fact that we're not planning for the long term. As you say, Scott Duxbury, start of this season, said we want to bring through our youngsters, we want to develop more young players at Watford, and at the moment we're going in completely the opposite direction to that. Now, if I was going to be devil's advocate, I would say that for a team that's trying to challenge for promotion, it's probably not quite the right environment to bring through a very, very young player, just because of the pressure that surrounds it. But Finn, surely in the next few weeks, we need to be seeing some of our young players get a few more opportunities, especially someone like Joseph Hungbo, who of course came on against Wycombe last night.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Joseph Hungbo and Tom Delibashiru. I think they both do need more opportunities in the first team if they're going to develop any further. And I think it's all good saying, "Oh, we've got really good youngsters. They're really good for our under-23s." Okay, play them then. Like if say Sema, for example, he's knackered. He needs a rest, and I think everyone on the planet can see that, other than Zisco. But he needs a rest. And when we've got Hungbo on the bench, who's a hungry young teenage player who wants to play for the club. I'm not saying Sema doesn't, but he wants to play for the club. He wants to do better. He wants to do as well as he possibly can. Why are we not using him? It just doesn't make much sense to me because, again, it's all good. Like Dan Phillips, it's all good saying we've got him. Use him then. You know what I mean? It's baffling, so it makes it sound worse than it is, but I think it is. It's confusing to say the least.
Funny comment here from Paul Muzzy saying, "I don't want anybody else. When I think about Hughes, I touch myself." That is funny. That is funny. That is funny. We'll quickly gloss over that, but yeah, Will Hughes, Paul, fantastic player, fantastic player. Back onto Daniel Phillips. Obviously, I did ask the chat what is actually happening with him. Rudy is saying he thinks he's injured, and I think that would make sense considering the fact that he's not in the under-23 squad, as far as I'm aware, and obviously he's not been making the Watford squads either. So hopefully, same with Tom Delibashiri. Actually, hopefully they can both come back from injury and make an impact. But Finn, I've obviously not spoke to you since we beat Wycombe yesterday. We'll move on to that. Obviously, we have discussed Carlos Sánchez now, and look, obviously, we both hope he can be a success at Watford. And yeah, look, good luck to him. But let's move on to looking back at last night and what was a good win for Watford, Finn, and obviously Andre Gray, all of our favourite players, Andre Gray. What a guy! Got the 2 goals. What performance from him, Finn?
It was good. He made the right runs and a couple of nice touches and passes. It wasn't like an Andre Gray we've seen all season. And I think as good as he's made the right runs, he's had the chances. He just hasn't been able to finish them off. And it just seems like he had that cutting edge yesterday, which is probably what he's been missing all season. And I think I would probably start Andre Gray against Forest with either Hung Bowen or João Pedro on the left. So I think Andre Gray, he played well, and as much as he probably doesn't like me, as he's blocked me, I'd still like to see him play. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, and yeah, Andre Gray, fantastic performance, and he actually come out after the game and he kind of said that wasn't actually his best performance this season, but he did get the 2 goals, and whether it was a good performance personally for him or not, he did put them away, and I think that he has kind of been getting into them positions throughout this season, but he's just not. He's just been kind of snatching at his chances. His confidence is obviously low with what happened, on and off the pitch. And yeah, hopefully Andre Gray can kick on now, Finn. And look, we've got some key games coming up as well. Obviously, we play Norwich, Swansea, Brentford in the run-in towards the end of the season. Cardiff as well. Yeah, that's a good point. And Cardiff are on really good form at the moment. So hopefully Andre Gray, can help us now in that run-in and score a few crucial goals for us. In terms of actually the overall performance, we've touched on Andre Gray now. I want to talk about Kiko Feminier and Ismail Assar, because what a partnership that is down that right-hand side. I actually thought towards the end of the game, Sarr, went down a couple of levels. He was snatching at a few shots, but overall, Finn, I mean, they're the most dangerous right-hand side in the Championship, aren't they?
It's ridiculous. We don't deserve either of them. I honestly, call me deluded, whatever you want. I can honestly see both of them players starting for Europa League, like that sort of level. It's ridiculous. It's just adding to the list of players we're going to lose if we don't go up. You think about Siralta, Kiko, Sarr, all of them gone if we don't go up. Let's be realistic. So they are absolutely incredible, and there's just nothing more I can say about them. They know each other inside out. They know where the other one's going to be. They know what passes. They know the way. They're just so good.
They are so good, and I think we could sit here for hours on end talking about how good Kiko and Ismail Assar are. But in terms of Zisco's rotation, Finn, Ismail Assar does have to have a break at some point.
At some point, yeah.
At some point, is the game coming up against Nottingham Forest the game for him to do that, or would you play him in that game? You know, would you maybe play him and take him off when we're winning comfortably,
Yeah.
or would you give him a rest from the start indefinitely and only bring him on if we do need him?
I put out my preferred lineup on my Instagram a couple of days ago. Oh, it was straight after Wycombe, actually. And I put Sarr to start, but come off 50th minute, just to give him 40 minutes rest. And yeah, it's obvious that him and Sema need it. So I just think when we've got players like Zinkernagel, players like Hungbo on the bench, it's yet another confusing thing. It might be because of the inexperience of Xisco. I think some of his substitutions and his squad rotation decisions, they are a bit below standard, aren't they? And I don't think it's just me that's saying that, is it?
No, I don't think so. And I think that is something that Xisco needs to improve on. It is that squad rotation, and that is my one. That is my one big criticism with him. Comment here from Fireball. Watford saying Xar and Kiko ripping up the right. PZ7 benefiting from the start. Absolutely superb assist, wasn't it, for Andre's second goal? Solid defensive display. Maybe not that clinical at times, but yesterday is just what you want after a loss like Bournemouth. And yeah, that was a really, really terrible loss against Bournemouth. But hopefully we can bounce back against Nottingham Forest. And yeah, it's going to be a difficult game, Finn. Obviously, James Garner, Glenn Murray.
That's honest about them.
Obviously, they are now playing for Nottingham Forest, Finn. So are they people? Well, obviously they are someone to look out for because they did play for Watford. But is that are they two players that we really need to hone down on? Because obviously they do have a point to prove. Coming back to Watford, they weren't utilised how they feel they should have. James Garner obviously thought he should be starting more games. Same with Glenn Murray. Are they two players that we should be watching out for when we play Nottingham Forest on Saturday?
Honestly, I haven't been keeping track of Forest, but if I've heard that James Garner especially has been dominating games, all from that central midfielder role. And I think as long as we play 4-3-3 and we at least match or even overpower their midfield, I don't know what formation they play again, I think we should be okay because he is young. And I think experiences against a three-man midfield of someone as good as Hughesy, someone, if Cleves is okay for the game, someone as, I don't know how to describe him. Rat-like, he'll keep running forever. And then someone like Philip Zinkernagel, who's hungry, wants to prove to Xisco that he should be starting every week. I think he might struggle. And as for Glenn Murray, other than him scoring a brace on his debut for Forest, I'm not really sure how good he's been. So I don't know.
You mentioned Philip Zinkernagel there, Finn. Do you want him to start again? Because I'd definitely play Philip Zinkernagel again. I think that he got the assist against Wycombe. I think surely he'd be itching to get some more game time.
I think it's a must because I know he's not a natural central midfielder, but we're short on that area. That's no secret. So yeah, he showed some good defensive determination. Not only the ball's there, should probably tackle them. Wins the tackle early on in the game, like the first couple of minutes. Their winger, not Ikpeatsu, the one that used to play for. No, Ikpeatsu did. Onyedema was running. We just had a corner. Onyedema was through. It was a one-on-one. Philip Zinkernagel made up about 100 meters in 2 seconds and came up to tackle him. And I just think that's a sort of hunger you need if you're going to get promoted. And I know you know me. You know how much I love like passion for a club. I just think you've got to want to give your all for it, and that's exactly what Philip Zinkernagel showed yesterday. I think he took his opportunity by the scruff of the neck, and he played well. And I think he does deserve to be played on Saturday.
Yeah, I think so, and I think the same applies to Andre Gray. Actually, I think that he did prove a lot of supporters wrong in his performance against Wycombe. Albeit, we have to stress it was Wycombe, who are 24th in the Championship. He wasn't playing against the Brentford, Swansea, Norwich. He wasn't playing against one of them teams. It was against Wycombe. So we do have to keep that in perspective. But he did get the 2 goals. That's what we want our strikers to do. We want our strikers to score goals. And I actually think, even though Pedro's coming back from suspension, I do think that Andre Gray should be given another opportunity, especially after scoring that brace. Finn, this has kind of turned into a bit of a Nottingham Forest preview. So I'm actually going to ask you your score prediction before we go today. It is going to be a tough game. We've mentioned, obviously, James Garner, Glenn Murray. They're going to try and come back to haunt Watford. We are at home again. Our home record is very, very good this season. Surely it's a Watford win, right?
No. I'm going to say 1-0 Forest. Glenn Murray to score, James Garner with the...
No, so negative.
No, I'm only joking. I reckon tight win, 1-0 Watford. João Pedro, 80th minute.
João Pedro, 80th minute. Is he going to come off the bench, score nice bicycle kick, something like that? Yeah.
Bicycle kick from the halfway line.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Let us know your score predictions in the comments as well before we leave. It's been a pleasure talking to you all today. Appreciate you all leaving your comments in the chat as well. Really is great doing these live streams, so really do appreciate it. What is my score prediction going to be? I'm going to be a bit more optimistic than Finn. Finn is renowned for being the most negative person on the planet Earth, so I'm going to go...
Can I just say?
Go on.
Fireball has just said in the chat, update just coming on cleverly. He's feeling good and is confident he can return after that March international break, having sustained a minor ligament damage. Oh.
Well,
at least it's not an ACL yeah, you know what I mean.
That is good news, but also, we do have a few games between now and the March international break, and as you say, we do play Cardiff next week as well. I just wish he could come back a little bit sooner, but it is better than. I assume that's been published by the Watford website or Adam Leventhal. So look, obviously, me and Finn wish Cleverly all the best in his recovery. But as Finn said, that is really, really good news. And yeah, hopefully, hopefully he can come back for us in that key run in towards the end of the season. So back to my score prediction.
Sorry.
As I said, Finn is very negative. He did predict a Watford win, albeit not a very comfortable one. I'm going to go more comfortable, and I'm going to go, 15-0 to Watford.
Right.
I'm joking. Not 15-0. It's going to be a comfortable. I reckon Nottingham Forest will score. I reckon Murray or Garner will score. Probably, yeah. But I reckon 3-1, something like that. 3-1, do you reckon?
That's probably more realistic, yeah.
A bit more entertaining. Finn worth a £10 on Hive Live, yeah.
Yeah. Although I did buy the Wycombe game, so maybe not.
Let's take a look at everyone's score predictions then. Jesus is going for a 6-0 to Watford. Andre Gray to score 4. I mean, if Andre Gray scores 4 goals, I will actually. I won't say that because you will all hold me to that, so I'm not actually going to say that. But I was thinking about something in my head. But let's move on from that. Fireball was saying 2-1 to Watford. Cormac 1-0 Watford. Saar.
I agree with it.
You agree with Cormac, yeah?
Yeah, 1-0.
1-0 to Watford. Ollie has gone for 3-2. Entertaining game that Ollie's predicting there. Caroline saying great news on Clevs. That is great news, Caroline. Hopefully he's back even sooner than that, and hopefully he can help us in the run-in. Rudy saying obviously good news about Cleverly as well. Ollie saying only 15-0. What about 20-0 to Watford, Ollie? How about that? 20-0 to Watford. That would be good, wouldn't it? James, I mean, these score predictions are a bit crazy today. 9-0 to the Hornets. Zinkernagel, Pedro and Saar masterclass. AJ going with 4-1 to Watford. Lots of comments here today. And finally, Rudy has gone with the 1-0 to Watford. So you look very, very positive going into this game. Like the Wycombe game, with the players we've got, we should be beating Forest, but who knows? We are Watford, and we do Watford things up sometimes. So yeah, looking forward to it, guys, and keep an eye out on our channel as well, because we do have some content for you coming up this weekend. I'll probably record a separate preview for the game tomorrow on my own, going a bit more in depth into my thoughts. On Sunday, I do have an interview with an international Watford fan coming out, about half an hour interview with a Egyptian Watford fan, so keep an eye out for that. And also we've got our match reaction, which will be coming out on Saturday after the game. So again, thank you very much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We're really, really close to 260 subscribers. So if we could hit that before the Nottingham Forest game, I would really, really appreciate it. And yeah, Finn, thank you very much for coming on. I'm sure you'll be on again very, very soon, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.